Hello and welcome back to another video on the rest of it and an edition of AEW Dynamite Out 10. And yeah, of course it is a massive episode of AEW Dynamite this week because it is blood and guts. Yeah, of course that big brutal cage match that took up half the show nearly. Before that we had several things to crack into. So we started things off with Will Ospreay finding a knife in his tire and making Alex Marvez drive into the arena. When we went live, a group of cheerleaders introduced MJF, the new international champion. Came through where a new title belt was clearly waiting under a cloth on the table. He gave his usual MJF style promo, mocking the crowd and everyone who held the title. He drops the new belt in the garbage before revealing a new American championship with the American colours over it. As he posed in front of it with a giant American flag, Ospreay came from the crowd and attacked him. MJF retreated while the aerial assassin ripped him Park on the match and he challenged him to a match at All In. Backstage, the Elite had attacked Christopher Daniels before the coin toss determined what they had an advantage in Blood and Guts. They used to try and trick a coin to make sure they got the advantage. But yeah, I thought MJF was really good here as a heel promo. Ospreay coming back for him, and the new American Championship is going to be mega heat at Wembley. So yeah, really can't wait for that match. The first match on this week's show was Jericho taking on Minoru Suzuki. Big Bill and Brian Keith were banned from ringside, so Jericho looked a little less cocky than usual. Murder Grandpa told him to square up and offered him the first shot as they began to exchange chests of chops. He was laughed at as Jericho tried to light him up, but it was Lion Tree who ended up with a red chest first. They ended up trading shots for several minutes with no over offense. This was a battle of attrition with both men wanted to prove they were the tough competitor. It looked until a break for Jericho to try something else. Suzuki used a couple of steel chairs to inflict damage on the champion's injured hand while his knee go under FTW limits. The Learning Tree was able to get the win and with a Judas effect, but Suzuki hit a pile driver after the match. Bill and Keith showed up and attacked him until Shibata made the save. This match had several very little substance, but the way it was executed was surprisingly fun. It wasn't a 5-star classic, but it was entertaining in its own way and the crowd seemed to have a bet on it. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I've been critical in the past of Jericho, but I thought this was really good for what it was. So yeah, fair enough. Jarrett was then shown talking to Bryan Danielson backstage about his upcoming match at All In. Back in the arena, Baker was up for her first match against Sheeta. They started some basic lockouts and takedowns. You could see Baker trying to get her groove again after spending almost a year on the shelf. The crowd seemed split and cheered for both competitors like it was the first time they'd seen Sheeta from more than a few fans in their corner. This first part was 80% chops and the main event is going to be a violent cage match, so it's always going to give us a bit more of a traditional pro wrestling on the show. Both won a great performance, but D&D seemed a bit rusty here. Even with Baker trying to get back into the swing of things, they still ended up being a solid contest with a few highlights. D&D scoring a submission victory and interrupted by Monet. As Baker was distracted, she was distracted by Camille, a newcomer to AEW, of course former NWA Women's Champion. And yeah, she looked violent here, and that segment with Monet coming in I think really could bolster it. Very intrigued to see that. So yeah, I thought on the whole this was quite good. And yeah, very intrigued to see how it goes. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Boulder of the Iron Savage then faced Pac. The other Savage watched them ringside as Pac neutralised Boulder's size of advantage. An easy one in a couple of minutes with a squash before Mariah May was in action against a local competitor from Knoxville. As soon as the bell rang, May squashed her and yeah, Tony Storm's music hit, but Murray revealed it as a joke. Then Storm showed up for real and they started brawling. 2 squash matches in a row was not ideal when we could have had a decent battle in their place, but at least we got to see Storm return to continue her feud with Mariah May going forward. So yeah, whatever, I'll give it 6 out of 10. Before it's time for Blood and Guts, Jack Parry and Darby Allin were the first competitors for their teams. As Allin entered the cage, Parry attacked him. He beat Allin all around the ring and used the cage and steel sets to inflict damage. When they finally got in the ring, Parry used a trash can and the extension cord as weapons. The Elite gave the advantage, so Nicholas Jackson was the next man to enter the ring. And yeah, Briscoe was the first person to show a significant amount of blood after having a face scraped against the cage. Considering the name of the situation, it's kind of surprising that it took so long for someone to bleed, but they had a long way to go pacing themselves. We saw different weapons used throughout the match in the first half of the match, including tacks, a board used covered in barbed wire, and Bowens using a pair of real scissors. Hangman didn't show up when it was his turn to enter the ring because he was waiting to attack Swerve during his entrance. Nick lost his temper and threatened to fire Page if he didn't get in the ring. Swerve was left locked outside of the cage after Hangman complied. He then had a tense standoff with Okada that allowed Team AEW to keep control. Jarrett came out and helped Swerve free his trapped hand and got into the cage. The crowd erupted when he and Hangman started trading punches. Part of the cage was busted open and allowed some to escape in the fight around the ring. Several people went through the tables, including Perry, who, when Allen dropped from the cage ceiling onto him with a coffin drop, Perry was cuffed to the cage and beaten with kendo sticks in his chair, but he wouldn't give up. Allen grabbed a glass can from under the ring and poured it onto him before threatening to light him on fire if he didn't give up. Nick agreed to give Allen a TNT title shot, and the Elite quit to stop Perry getting set up. Battles like this are hard to judge because they are so far removed from the usual match. Even though there was a story behind this, most of what we saw was just weapons that escalated in violence. All 10 men put a lot of work into this and will feel the effects for some time. We saw some creative moments sprinkled across the match, but there was also some stalling in time for the next lot. Some fans will love this kind of match, some people will hate it. Personally, I'm a big fan of it and really like these hardcore style matches. So yeah, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, but I can see why some people probably weren't quite such as bigger fans. Overall, AEW Dynamite gets 7 out of 10 from me. I thought, this was a very busy and stacked episode of Dynamite, I think it's fair to say. Lots going on. Straight from that blood and guts match, that dramatic, brutal ending. Jericho and Suzuki had a great match. Great promo between MJF and Ospreay to kick off the show. So yeah, lots going on, and on the whole, pretty decent stuff. Hey guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on our socials. Link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme, and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.